Now let's discuss the structure of brain in detail. It is divisible into three parts, namely forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So you can see the three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain, right. So it is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. You can also see that forebrain forms the largest part of the brain. It forms the largest part of the brain. It almost forms 4/5 of the brain, right. Now, forebrain is composed of olfactory lobes, cerebrum and diencephalon. Olfactory lobes actually are pair of poorly developed club shaped widely separated lobes, right. They are visible from the ventral surface only and they are concerned with the sense of smell. So, they are very poorly developed club shaped widespread lobes, right. Now, we have the major important part of your forebrain, that is the cerebrum. It is cerebrum. Cerebrum forms the largest part of your brain. It consists of two lobes that you can see here in the image, that is cerebral hemisphere. We have left hemisphere and we have right hemisphere. So, the two lobes of the cerebrum are known as cerebral hemispheres. We have right hemisphere and we have left hemisphere. Now, these cerebral hemispheres, they cover all the parts of the brain superiorly and lie side by side, and these hemispheres are separated by a deep groove. These two hemispheres are separated by a deep groove that we call as cerebral fissure. What do we call it as? We call it as cerebral fissure. Now, the hemispheres, they have lot of grooves and they have lot of folds. The folds are known as gyri and grooves are known as sulci. The folds are known as, they are known as gyri and grooves are known as sulci. Now, when you look at this, then sulci is further divided into four lobes. We have frontal lobe, we have parietal lobe, we have occipital lobe and we have temporal lobe. We have what? We have frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe and temporal lobe. Now, these folds and these grooves, they are actually increasing the surface area so that more and more neurons can be accommodated. They are increasing the surface area so that more and more neurons, they can be accommodated. Now, what are the functions of this cerebrum? Cerebrum is actually concerned with your memory, your emotions, your intelligence, right. It initiates and controls the movement of the striped muscles also. It controls conscious sensations such as taste, such as smell, such as sight of hearing, right, and it perceives sensory impulses also. It also deals with one you call as subconscious mind, right. The past experiences that relate somewhere, that forms the subconscious mind, that are stored into your mind, and when you can say that skillfully asked, you can actually relate those past experiences. You can dream, you can get dreams of the past experiences. So, it is basically dealt with the subconscious mind, which is actually part of the cerebrum, that we call as cerebrum. So, it is very important, the cerebrum. Then we have diencephalon, right. Then we have diencephalon. Now, diencephalon is the small rhomboidal lobe which lies between cerebrum and the midbrain. So, it has two parts majorly. It has thalamus and hypothalamus. It has thalamus and hypothalamus. This is diencephalon. It has two regions, thalamus and hypothalamus. Now, thalamus is actually the relay center. When I talk about relay center, it is concerned with sensations, but except one sensation, that sensation is the smell. So, it is a relay center for all sensation except smell. It contains reflex centers for muscular and glandular activities. It contains what? Reflex centers for muscular and glandular activities. Then if we talk about hypothalamus, what are the main functions of hypothalamus? It maintains water balance, fat metabolism, your eating, blood pressure, sleep, body temperature, hunger, thirst, anger and pleasure. So, all these activities are actually controlled by hypothalamus. So, just look at the structure of the brain. It's although very complex, but you can just memorize that brain is composed of three parts: We have forebrain, we have midbrain and we have hindbrain. The forebrain forms the largest part, means 4/5 of your brain is covered by this forebrain, and the forebrain has 3 major parts which we have discussed, that is the olfactory lobes, the cerebrum and diencephalon. If you look here, the olfactory lobes, they are poorly developed and they club shaped, they are visible from the ventral surface only and they are concerned with the sense of smell. But the cerebrum, which is an important part of your forebrain, it is the largest part. It consists of 2 lobes that we call as cerebral hemispheres. You can see we have a left hemisphere and we have a right hemisphere. So, these 2 hemispheres, they are known as cerebral hemispheres. They are separated by a deep groove that we call as cerebral fissure. The folds are known as gyri and the grooves are known as sulci. There are 3 prominent sulci which form the 4 lobes that we have seen. We have frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe and temporal lobe. What are the functions of cerebrum? It actually relates to memory, emotions, intelligence, initiates and controls type muscles, controls conscious sensations, perceives sensory impulses and subconscious mind.